This episode is sponsored by Sourcing Playground. Sourcing Playground is an online platform making it easier for brands to connect with compliant, ethical, and sustainable manufacturers. Think Match.com, but for retail. You can post your project for free and let the suppliers come to you. On the platform, you can easily compare quotes and factory profiles to choose the right supplier for your brand. Sourcing Playground are offering a free upgrade to the Fashion Feed listeners, which means your project will only be viewed by the factories and hidden from public view. Go to www.sourcingplayground.com to check it out and mention the Fashion Feed in the chat box. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fashion Feed podcast. My name is Elizabeth Stiles and we are on episode 16. Today's episode is with Jane Hamill and we recorded this over Zoom. So Jane is actually from Chicago and she is so passionate about fashion, sales and helping brands make money. Like, hello, a woman after my own heart. Jane's tagline is create a simple marketing plan, build your following and get consistent sales. She's also really funny, so it was a pleasure to record the episode with her. Jane had a women's wear line for 14 years and owned her Chicago boutique for the same time period. She sold the Jane Hamill line in her own shop and wholesaled to Bloomingdale's, Saks, Macy's and hundreds of boutiques across the country. She's also been featured on CNN, InStyle and Fox National TV, so it's pretty cool. She started the Fashion Brain Academy and Jane Hamill Consulting in 2010 and helps creative entrepreneurs make a great living via online courses, business coaching programs, and public speaking. In this episode, we discuss how to get more sales for your business, understanding who your customer is, how to make people care about your business with your messaging, why you need a solid content marketing strategy, the importance of building your email list, and explaining sales funnels, lead magnets, and why you need them. So I hope you enjoy. I think it's really informative episode, probably one of the most informative that we've ever done. So definitely grab a pen and paper if you're looking to get more sales into your business, which hopefully you are always doing on a day-to-day basis, is actively seeking out those new sales. Jane also mentioned a workflow to share content and sort of repurpose it, and you can find that at janehamill.com/the fashion feed. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so grateful if you could head over to Apple iTunes reviews. So if you just scroll right to the bottom of the episodes available on the fashion feed, and you should see the reviews there. So quick 5 stars and any sort of comment that would be really great feedback. I'd be so grateful. So thanks for listening and I'll see you next time. Hi Jane, welcome to the Fashion Feed, all the way from America. This is so exciting.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I feel like I found you probably about a year ago, and then we just kind of stayed in touch, and you've got your own podcast, haven't you? So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, hey everybody. Thanks for having me, Elizabeth. It's cool to be here. So I'm Jane Hamill and I have a company called, really cleverly named, Jane Hamill. And I also am the founder of Fashion Brain Academy. And I'm a business coach, basically. And I do online workshops and courses and business coaching for creative entrepreneurs. Most people sell a physical product, clothing, accessories, jewelry, sometimes baby stuff. It doesn't really matter, but a physical product. And I have a monthly coaching program too, where we take the topics of mostly marketing and selling and how to get more customers. We dive deep in those things to make sure. My goal is to help people make their own money, lots of money if they want to, and be comfortable to pay the bills and know that you have consistent, predictable sales coming in. Especially when you're selling, I focus a lot on direct to consumer rather than wholesale.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I like what you said about making lots of money. I don't think anybody should be afraid of saying that.
Yeah. And, I hear sometimes from women, they're like, well, I don't need to be whatever. I'm like, why not?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, like, if you're making money and you're supporting yourself and your family and your team, you can do, it just takes a lot of stress away when you know you have consistent income and you don't have to worry about where every sale is going to come from all the time.
Yeah, and it makes being creative so much easier as well. Like if you're stressing about money, being creative is, I would say, almost impossible.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. And you've got a podcast called Imperfect Action.
Yep.
Why did you call it that? I like that name.
I took a class one time a long time ago. I can't remember the person, but he said, we're going to get you into action. And then every once in a while he would drop that, imperfect action. And for some reason it triggered my brain. Like, I don't think I'm a perfectionist. I never thought of myself like that. But when I thought about the things I wasn't doing because it just wasn't quite right yet, or I should send that email, but I want to make it just the right email, like stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I realized if I could just lower the bar on the action I was taking, I would get a lot more done. And it really worked. And what I didn't mention is I'm a former fashion designer and retail store owner. And I
just casually, I only did that for like 14 years.
right. So, but I noticed, like, I sold my line, to really beautiful big stores like Bloomingdale's and Saks Fifth Avenue. I've been on CNN and National Public Radio, like so many cool things. But I noticed when it comes to imperfect action, just what you were saying about go be creative because you need to make money right now. That's like the worst possible position to be in. And when I owned my clothing line and my retail store, you would feel like that. You're like, when you are the person responsible for coming up with the product and being creative to get the right product, and then you need to go out and sell it, and then it needs to pay your bills. It just is like a triple layer of psychosis. Just like, can make you feel crazy.
Yes.
And I used to put off designing my line or putting in the buy until the very last possible minute. And I realized it's because I was so afraid to screw it up. And so the whole imperfect action thing just really helped me be like, well, I may not have designed this line very well. I may not, it may not be the best thing ever, but at least it's going to be done, and it'll be done on time, rather than putting it off to the very last minute like I did for so many years. Because then I could have the excuse like, well, no wonder the line didn't sell very well this season. I did it all in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
It would just be really not a good path.
So you've got a wealth of experience to be speaking to people about selling products, and like, let's say in particular fashion products today. And I went on your website, and this is just so great. It says, create a simple marketing plan, build your following, and get consistent sales. Like, that's what everyone wants, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so what is your most frequently asked question?
Well, so people ask, how do I get more sales? But I guess the most common specific question is, but what should I do? What is the marketing activity that's most important for me? And that's a tough question in a sense. It's like, how much does it cost to buy a house, right? Well,
yeah.
a house in London, or is it in Oklahoma, or like, where's the house? How big is it? How So what should I do is a tricky little question for marketing. And I'd love to give you tips and the strategy that I would suggest in all of it. But the most important thing to know is that if you are able to, and you all are, everybody listening, you are able to do this, you guys, because the most unlikely designers and entrepreneurs have done it. Like some of my students, I've been like, oh gosh, I don't know if she's gonna, be able to deal with it. Oh my God, they can do this. So you can build a following of people who love your stuff and will come back and buy. You can. And if you have an audience of people who know you, like you, and trust you, that all important KLT factor, know, like, and trust, if they get to know you, like you, and trust you, and you build an audience based around something, not necessarily just the product, so there's one of my clients I'm thinking who sells very, very beautiful dresses, and they have a vintage feel, but they're, definitely they don't look straight out of an era, but they're very unique and simple, right? And she's built a following around being a busy working person in an urban environment, right? So actually she lives in London by chance, but a lot of her customers live in cities, and they're 30 something women going out doing stuff, having fun, right? So she built an audience around the lifestyle of this girl, this woman. And then her product happens to be dresses, right? But she built the following around, hey, this is what it's like. She commutes back and forth to France and all this stuff. And, it's really about the woman. And then the dresses are sort of like the PS, you should buy this now.
Yeah.
So I try to explain to people that whether you are in the middle of your 10th season or you haven't even started, you can build a following around the lifestyle of your ideal customer. And then if they start to know you, they like you, they trust you, there's a certain percentage of them who will want to buy from you whenever you're ready to offer them something. So whether you're selling right now, great. PS, will go buy this now. If you're not selling yet, if you're, straight up startup or you're starting a brand new thing, you simply are building that following around the lifestyle of that person, not around how awesome your particular handbag is.
Yeah. And when you're starting a new business, I heard this on one of your podcasts, it's like you're launching something, but so what? Like, and it sounds horrible. Like I wish I could say a nicer way of saying it, but like, why this sounds even worse, to be honest, but it's like, why should anyone care?
Right.
And you press that button to go live on your website and the sales don't come through, and you're like, what? I've launched a website here. Like, everyone needs to know about this and everyone should know about it. And you've probably been talking about it to like your family and your friends maybe, but then like you haven't actually told anybody in the bigger, wider world.
Yeah.
And it's like that why factor. So I had somebody before saying, I want to launch children's dresses, and I was like, okay, tell me why. And she said, oh, actually I had a really awful skin condition when I was younger, and all the polyester party dresses of the 80s would completely irritate my skin. So my mum would hand make all my dresses from natural materials, and I want girls who also have skin conditions to feel beautiful at a party. And I was like, oh my God, now I care about your dresses. Like, here we go.
Right. Right. It's interesting because it's like you go to a place and you shop at a place, oftentimes not always because the product is that much better or different. I mean, sometimes yes, but oftentimes I'm just thinking of my husband and we have this cottage in the dunes of Lake Michigan, right? And we always like to go out for breakfast every weekend with the kids. And I want to go to a normal place. And he wants to go to this kind of dumpy place that hasn't been updated and the bathroom's kind of dirty. And when you sit down, they don't have cream on the table. They have this like white oily thing. I don't even know what. They don't even have butter. They have margarine. It's just so wrong. But he goes there because George is there. And every time we walk in, George is like, hey family. He gives the kids lollipops. He talks to us. And my husband just knows, likes, and trusts George to the point where he's willing to put up with inferior food.
Yeah.
And that is the truth. So if you are selling whatever you're selling and they know, like, and trust you, and then you pivot and you go from, like, many of my clients right now, like one of them, she sold dresses and accessories for years, and now she's writing a cookbook, right? I would say 40% of those people who used to buy from her are following her now with her book. Because they're like, I like you. I'm going to be interested in whatever you got,
Yeah.
So I'm not saying the product's not important, but that bond, that goodwill, that trust that you can create with the customer or the prospect, that's the real value of your business. Like, that's it right there.
Yeah. And I guess you need to know who your customer is to be able to create that like authentic connection.
Yeah. So this is a good one, a tough one. Like, everybody thinks they know their customer. I think if you ask me, I think at this point I'd probably be like, oh, hell no. I won't even think I do. But up until a few years ago, I probably thought I did, right? Because the customer's always changing. Like, the person you go after, you kind of have in mind when you first start is different than the second year. It's different than the third year. It's like you want a different kind of person. And to me, there's three things that make up an ideal customer. Somebody who likes what you have. Like they just like they like it. Okay. They
Yeah.
they understand the value. They don't need convincing. So if you have, a product that's made by hand and it's going to cost more, or if it's made, whatever eco or sustainable practices, whatever, and it's, 20 or 25% more than something sort of similar, but not made in the same way, you don't have to educate and convince somebody that it's valuable. They already get it. Okay. And that's a big mistake. People are trying to always like convince someone that you should want, natural fibers or whatever. If they don't want it, they don't want it. I'm not going to try to make you want it. Okay. So they like it. They are already convinced. You don't, you don't have to convince them, and they have access to money. And access to money doesn't necessarily mean they have their own money. Like sometimes, when I first owned my own retail store, it was in a neighborhood that was near a children's hospital. And I was between the hospital and where they had like the clinic where all of the young residents would meet with patients. And all of these young girls, they're 25, 26, 27-year-old, adorable soon to be doctors. They're on a resident salary. They don't have a lot of money, but they're cute, they're young, and they have dates. And so
Yeah.
they had a credit card. And so they would shop like crazy, knowing they're going to have a good salary in a couple years, right? So if somebody likes it, they understand the value without convincing, and they have access to money, that's the one you want. There's so many times I see people going after rich ladies because they have money, but they don't even care about your product. Like just because they have the money doesn't mean they have, that they care about what you're doing. I'd much rather go after some, broke-ish somebody who's super passionate about what you're doing, because they're going to get access to money somehow.
Because they find the money.
They
Yeah. Like
do.
how many times have you gone, oh my God, I need it. And I don't know, you just find the money. Like,
Just turned
yeah.
13 years old. Do you know what he did with his birthday money? He bought $140 AirPods. Like he's only had $140 in his entire life.
Yeah.
He wants it so bad, he saved it all together and bought the one thing he really, really wanted.
So, sometimes people are like, oh, understand your ideal customer. And like, what do they do? Let's name them. Let's give them a job. And like, what do you then do with that information?
Yeah, I have to say most ideal customer avatar exercises are completely useless to me. Like
Yeah.
I've done them 100 times and I'm like, what in the hell? This is a fake I don't even know what this is. So I finally came up with something that worked for me, and I share it with my clients, and hopefully it'll help your audience too. So what I suggest you do is you look around you. Who has purchased from me before? Or and I tell people, write this down. Who do I most want to purchase from me? Who do I most want to see using my product? Okay. And if you think, I'm talking about a real human, okay? I'm not talking about Taylor Swift. I'm talking about like, oh my God, that super cool woman at the gym who's there for yoga on Wednesday morning. She is boss. She's perfect. I want her. Like, or it's my friend's cousin's sister, whatever. And so you pick either a customer that you already have or somebody who you actually know or know of, and they are the perfect person. So it can't be, however, one little thing I'd say, it can't be a super fan. So if you have a super fan, there's always like, if we're lucky, there's like a certain percentage, a very small percentage that'll kind of buy anything you do. That's not the person
Yeah.
you pick, because that's too easy, right? You pick the
Mm.
second tier. Like she loves it, she gets it, but she does have obstacles to buying, and she does have reasons she doesn't always buy everything. So you pick an actual human, and then that becomes your buyer persona. And the problem with that for most people is they're so afraid to say, okay, I want this 35-year-old mother of two who does yoga every week and does this, and like a very specific person. They feel like then they're not going to get somebody else. And to me, that's the whole point. You have to actively attract only the ideal customers in the marketing. Okay. Anyone can buy. I'm not turning away any sales. But
Yeah.
in the market, for marketing purposes, you have to choose. You have to be hard freaking core. You choose your person, you actively attract them, and which means you're actively repelling other people.
Yeah.
So, and that's really hard, especially when you're new, because you think, well, what if I lose a sale? Well, you know what's going to lose you a sale if you try to appeal to everybody. And it's just going to be like, what did Jay Arbitman was on my podcast recently? He said, then you're trying to sell them the middle slice out of a loaf of white bread. Like, no, what? Should I want this? Ew. And
Yeah.
he used an example of one time I'm walking down the street and there's this like really S&M looking display in the window, like this very racy, naughty, lingerie store. And I was like, holy mackerel. That is awful. I mean, it was just over the top. But all I could think was my friend who would love it. And I quickly texted him, dude, your store is here. So when you choose a human, a real buyer persona, an actual person, you want to choose them, and then they will inform your decisions with your marketing. Like if you're writing a blog post or making a video or even designing, you're like, would this person get it? Could I swear? Would I use a reference to, I don't know, like House of Cards, or would it be a reference to something else? Like it helps you just worry about pleasing one person. And then you have to choose for the marketing. We can't be, Target. And even Target, you see Target's US. Do you guys have Target in the UK?
No, but it's kind of like Asda, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, they even, but we can't be all things to all people. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I think I see for smaller brands. They're afraid to put a line in the sand and just say, this is my person, the end. If you don't fit in, we love you, but you can't buy here. Like it's not.
Yeah. So if you take that person, you then need to put them into, I don't really like this phrase, but like sales funnel, because it sounds a bit corporate.
Well, I don't think of it as a sales funnel, even though that is probably what it is. I think of it more as like, I want your brand, your messaging, your whatever to be the flower that attracts the bees, right?
Yeah. See, that's nicer.
Well, I mean, it's the same. It's normally the same thing, but I never think of putting them through the funnel in a traditional way. I think of it like, I'm going to offer this to you. So I have 7 steps to kind of building your following. Okay. So the first one is who you're going after, which forces you to say who you're not going after. Now you can have a first buyer persona and a secondary. So like, let's say you sell baby clothes. Maybe the first one is grandma and the second one is the mom, or vice versa. Or like the woman who, I'm thinking of, who has the dress line, she goes after like the 32-year-old, busy lawyer, accountant, cool, whatever, working woman. But her secondary market could be like, the 50-year-old CEO, right? Like anybody can buy, but most of the content, most of the messaging is going to go towards one, right?
And their values are the same, aren't they?
Probably.
Or similar.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm thinking of one of my clients that I use her as an example a lot because she's such a good marketer. Her name is Erica from Rare Dirndl, and she makes dirndls, like German dirndls, like, like this traditional kind of German dress that you go to Oktoberfest in. And so her ideal customer is like the German American community, people who like grew up doing German dances and going to German restaurants. And then her secondary customer is the regular old woman who's just going to Oktoberfest in Munich and wants to look like she fits in. So the marketing message is going to be different. Like for the first one, you can use some German phrases and like, Oma or Opa or whatever, I don't know, like whatever the word is for grandma. And for the other woman, more traditional, you're going to have to educate her like, hey, here's how you wear bloomers under your dirndl, things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not, I guess it's a case by case situation, but so who are you going after? What is the marketing message that you're hanging your hat on that's going to attract them? Okay. And then if they're going to come to you, right? So I like to really encourage people to have a content strategy, which is videos, blog, how to wear this, ask the expert, like how, style Q&A, simple stuff. It doesn't have to be anything, super complicated. You don't have to write articles every week, which is, to me, hard. For some people, it's not. Who's this person? What are you going to say to attract them? And then when let's say you make a video about, how to style this jumpsuit or how to wear a cropped pant in the winter, right? That's something that one of my clients just did, and it's going over really well. Then you have to get them in your community, right? Which means you need your own list. And in this case, I'm talking about an email list but probably an SMS text list. And I don't know if that's like, how's that going in the UK? Do you guys get texts from your dentists to remind you that you have?
Yeah, actually from like the vet, the dentist, like service providers, definitely to remind you to turn up. But from brands, there's one brand called La Redoux, who's like a sort of catalog business that I sometimes get texts from, but yeah, not from independents. That's quite a new thing.
The open rates, the click-through rate, the conversion rate for texts is unbelievable right now. Like, it's insane.
Really?
And people used to not want to give you their text, and now they do if you make the offer juicy. So it's very interesting. So who's your person? What is it that I'm going to say? What kind of, what do I stand for when it comes to the lifestyle of this person? Start adding them, get an email list, give them a reason to get on your list. And then you need a platform. And I'll just run through these things and then we can go through. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So number 1 is who's your person. Number 2, what is it that you're going to say to attract them? Number 3 is building your own list. Okay. And tools to help you with that would be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. But mostly I want you to get them back to your site, get them on your list so you own it. Otherwise you're renting land on Instagram's platform that can shut you down at any moment. And my Facebook page actually did get shut down once. No lie.
So yeah, my friend's Instagram got shut down the other day. She had about 3,000 followers and it's just disappeared and she had to start again.
Yeah.
It happens. Change your password regularly.
Guys, it happens. So you have to get that on your own list. That's the only thing you own. Okay. And then you want to think about, what's my platform? How am I going to reach them? And usually that just means like you have a blog. And a blog, again, it doesn't have to be like 9 tips to whatever. It can be all kinds of things. It can be Q&A. It can be a picture diary. It can be a glorified version of your Instagram, but it's searchable with SEO. So you have your platform. That's your blog. That's where you're putting out your content, your marketing stuff. And then you really think about how you can add value to their lives. Notice we haven't even talked about selling yet.
Yeah.
And I want people to make money, but all we're worried about right now is, who are these people? How can I help them? What could I do to make their life just a little bit better? Educate, inform, entertain. Like, what could I possibly do? What could I offer them that's a little bit useful today, right? And then you have to show up and you have to keep doing it. The thing that I find frustrating with myself and everybody, most of my clients, is they do it for a little while. They have bursts of energy, bursts of content marketing, and then they get busy and they stop. And then they wonder why it didn't work, right? And consistency really does matter. So when you're doing this stuff, you want to think about, what's the minimum I could do that I know I could stick to? And then if you can do more, great, but consistency just really matters. And then the 7th thing is then tentacles. So blow it up. So an example of this would be like, I'll just keep using the same dress designer. Okay. When she was first starting, she was like, I'm going to do a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is something that you offered them in exchange for their email. Okay. Or text or whatever, but email is most common. And she did sort of like, I don't recall the specifics, but it was basically, a 3-day weekend in Paris, like where to go, what to do, how to have fun, what to wear when you go. And she offered this in exchange for the email, and people were loving her Paris weekend guide. They just loved it, and they would pass it around. And so once she knew it was good, by tentacles, I mean, you blow it up by maybe putting ad money behind it, or getting an influencer to offer it, or, getting it in front of more people on purpose. So she ran Facebook ads to that email opt-in, and she got hundreds of names. I don't recall what her budget was, but she had, maybe 600 people on that list, and she launched her brand just to that list. So it really was all from paid advertising. But first she tested it out with a small group of people to make sure that they wanted the guide and they liked it and the marketing message was right on, and it was the right kind of person who was interested in the weekend guide. And it did work out that they bought from her when they knew her, they liked her, they trusted her because she gave them a guide. The guide was fun, interesting. She blogged regularly. She emailed them. And then she said, woohoo, I have dresses to sell. Who wants one?
Yeah. Because what you've described there is actually quite a lot that you're giving away before you get anything back. And somebody said to me before, like, think service, not sales. Because especially in the UK, people are like so shy and like, oh, I don't want to sell anything, and it's fine. Like, oh, I've just got this little dress band, but tell me about you instead. And it's like, if you're actually providing a really good service, like, for example, that woman who wrote the amazing the guide, like, you're giving them something that's useful and you're then exchanging it for something that's of equal value. And I was listening to something before, and people only remember bad sales experiences, and that's why people don't like the word sales. But actually, when you've had a good sales experience, you just don't even think about it because it's been like a mutually beneficial exchange. But that's still selling, but in the best way possible. So that's why you probably don't like the word sales.
That's so interesting. I never thought of it like that.
But then, like you said, you're just giving away so much, and you've got to do that and accept that you've got to do that before you can get anything back.
I mean, you don't have to, right? And then you can be the person who calls me up and says, I have 500 pairs of jeans. What should I do? And I'm like, girl, you got that all wrong. First, people, and then
sell the jeans
products for them. Yeah. But I mean, it isn't, if you have a super big budget, and, you don't want to have a content strategy, you want to be straight, like, I just have a product, go buy my product, you can. It's just that it's going to cost a lot more. It's going to, you can't build the KLT factor in the same way, right? You can build an audience quickly with advertising, but how engaged and how real are they?
Yeah.
That's why I'm not a super big fan of giveaways to build your list, because are those quality leads that you're collecting, or are they people who just want free stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you can build a list, but are they the ideal customer? Do they actually like what you have? Do they have access to money, and do they get it? Or do they like, hey, free dress, I want that.
Yeah, which isn't like good long term.
No.
So if you have like 10 people in your list, say, where would you say that you've got this like download lead magnet sort of thing? What would you do?
You know what I would do? So if you have 10 people on your list, first of all, that's awesome. You have 10 people.
Yeah.
Like, this is great, right?
Because people always go, oh, nobody's listening. It's like, you've got 10 people there. Like,
yeah, you have 10 people.
Yeah. Like, congratulate the people that are there.
I would do three things. I would decide, what is it that I love to talk about all day? And like this girl, she loves to go to Paris for the weekend. The end. Okay. So it was easy for her. And people will say, well, what does that have to do with her product? Well, everything, because the people who are going to spend this kind of weekend are going to wear her dresses, right? So if you just had like how to wear dresses for your weekend in Paris, nobody's going to care about that. You have to think of what's good for them, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, you have 10 people on your list. What is it that you stand for? Who is it? Maybe you're just going to blog about like your journey of starting this brand. Maybe you're going to do a weekly Q&A, like a style Q&A. And so the first thing you can do is decide, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try it for 3 months. I say, give it 90 days, come up with a shtick, something you're going to do steadily for 90 days. So let's say every Tuesday, you're going to say, ask me any kind of question you want about what to wear, if you're a military wife, like whatever, I don't know, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or if you're an international traveler for work. And so you get people to ask you questions and you simply make a 1 or 2 minute video answering their question. Okay. So then you DM, text, email everybody you know. And you say, hey, John from high school, I'm starting this new series about, yeah, like anybody, right?
I love it. Yeah.
Hey, John, I'm starting this new thing following, I'm going to answer questions for people about international travel. You want to follow along? And he says, sure. All right, give me your best email. And you put them on your list one by one by one. Okay, because you can do that if you know that, right? So you ask everybody first, and you do it not like, hey, I'm starting a new line of dresses. Would you like to be on my email list about my dresses? No.
No,
Sounds gonna be like,
nobody wants
F
that.
off. No.
Yeah.
But you have to come up with something that is a little bit useful for them, right? Okay, so then you get all your friends and family on there. And then you start sending out, you create a piece of content, let's say once a week. You put it up on your blog. If it's a video, you can put it up on Facebook, IGTV. Pieces of it go on Instagram stories, YouTube, whatever, okay? But I do want you to put it on your blog because then it's searchable. So if you have a piece of content that's called how to wear cropped pants in the wintertime, and somebody's searching for that, and you've done a great video, but it's only on Instagram, they're not going to find you. Okay?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, people just think they have to build their Instagram and life will be great. That is false. You guys, please listen. Instagram is not a marketing strategy. It's one piece of a bigger strategy. Instagram is not a marketing strategy. All right, so you came up with what you want to talk about. You start blogging or whatever, making a piece of content once a week. And then once you do that for a few weeks, you have different topics that you've done. You see what people like. And you notice, gosh, every time I do this type of thing, I get comments and shares and maybe sales, whatever. And that's what you create your lead magnet out of. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then you can even do just a simple, even on your blog, you can say, hey, thanks for being here. If you love this type of thing, I have this, it's just a little bit more than what you give them on the blog, right? So if it's a really great article about something, it has the links in there, maybe it has a checklist, that's it. Like it doesn't have to be complicated at all. Checklists actually do really, really well as lead magnets.
Like if you're doing swimwear, it would be like 10 things to pack for holiday or something.
Yeah. I mean, stuff, it's probably the thing, whoever's listening right now, it's probably the thing that seems so obvious to you. They're like, why would anybody not know that?
Yeah.
But trust me, they don't. We don't know anything.
I know. Yeah. And just you can make it fun, or you can make it pretty, like on Canva or something, Photoshop, or just make it nice. Or like if it's a sustainable brand, it could be like a checklist on how to make your wardrobe, or like your day-to-day life more sustainable.
Yeah. And you do it in a way that
checklist for getting ready for bed, or I don't know, my mind's racing now for checklists.
Like 7 ways to make sure you sleep through the night every night. Boom. Like things that are like, and by the way, one of them is you need comfortable pajamas that you can sweat in, like mine. Click here, right? So there's always a tie-in. There's always a tie-in back to your products, but it's almost like that is secondary. Obviously they know you're a nightgown brand. It's not like you're hiding it, but Kate Spade used to have, and I don't know if they still do this. She had these amazing city guides, and they'd have Kate Spade guide to Rio or something. And they were really good. And it was, if you were a Kate Spade customer, the tips were just great. They're like what to order at this bar and where to go. And it was really, really, really well done. And it was absolutely of her, the Kate Spade girl, her kind of places.
So spend some time on it, like make it really good, because you're asking for that person's email address, which is very valuable. Therefore, what you provide has to be very valuable to them as well.
Yes. It has to be premium content. And again, it can be very simple. It just needs to be helpful,
Yeah.
And the email list is your most engaged audience. If somebody, I mean, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, lays there in bed and they're like, oh, what am I going to do today? You know what? I can't wait to get on somebody's email list. That's going to be awesome. You know what I want? More email. Yeah. Nobody says that. So if they're going to give you their email, that's a huge indication that they are interested in what you're doing. So you want to love them up like they are golden, man, and never abuse that, and never, send them spam, and never be a BS with them. You do want to offer them and sell for sure, but you try to have a ratio of pitch versus content. So enough that's still valuable, and then offer to sell. Okay.
Okay, cool. I think that is so helpful, definitely. And with regards to Instagram, so Instagram is not your marketing strategy. What what kind of stuff should you be sharing on there? It's like entertaining things or inspiring things. Like somebody said to me before, it's kind of like a magazine. Like people have replaced magazines with Instagram.
Yeah, I think it can be a lot of things. It depends on you and your brand. If you do have customers who are wearing your stuff and they're the type of people that share, or you can ask them, like user-generated content is the best thing probably that you could do. So if you sell sweaters and you can get enough of your people to send you a picture, or they tag you and you can repost that stuff, that's amazing, because we all like to see people that look like us. Social proof it's just so huge. If you can inspire them with quotes, those still work. They want you. I know you guys, a lot of you listening are like, I don't like to put myself up on Instagram. Dude, nobody does. Nobody. Okay, no. Maybe some of these young fish lip girls do. I don't know. But like no one goes in to be a clothing designer so they can Instagram all day. Okay. Trust me. But they want you. They want like your story. They want you in the studio. They want you organizing the clothes, shipping out packages. They want you. So put yourself up there as much as you can. But almost more important than what you post is the time that you spend, or someone from your team, but hopefully it's you at first, doing what I call pinging, which is just a made up word, like PING. It's just what it feels like when you ping someone. Like, it's like when I sent you, Elizabeth, I sent you a link to something that was going on in London a few weeks ago. That's me pinging.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just like networking over the interwebs, right? It's like why grandpa used to join the golf club, because those golf buddies all became his clients at the bank, whatever, right? So if you can identify who's in your niche that has influence over your customers' buying decisions, you want to get to know them, right? So like you and I, like we're pinging each other right now. We have a common type of customer. I can help your people. You can help my people. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
And if like, let's say if you sell, women's dresses for girls who travel a lot, then you're going to reach out to travel bloggers. You're going to reach out to other brands that sell travel stuff. And then your job is to just comment, like, share, show up, be useful. Once in a while, send them something interesting. And then they're going to think of you when they need something.
Definitely.
Even if you're doing, like, let's say you're doing an ask, style Q&A, how do I wear this? You can reach out to these folks and get a quote from them, include them in your content, tag them, and they will be much more likely to share it. So I think spending time on Instagram, finding people in your space and connecting with them is huge. That's the main reason Instagram is great, if you ask me, right there. Because you can connect with real people who share a common interest with you. Like one of my clients, she does clothing for women who like to sail. Okay. Like sailors, like, weekend sailing people. And all she wants to do is talk about her boat and sailing all day long and the clothes that she sells. Like, it's a blast for her. Right. So that's where I would spend my time, rather than worrying about putting content out all the time. How can you connect with these other people and get in the space of your niche?
Yeah, that's amazing. And what are your thoughts on like IGTV? I feel like it's definitely it was a slow burner, but it's definitely picking up.
Yeah, the game changer, I think, was when it was a silo, right? You had to log in on its own, and it was like, where is it? What is it? Who? It has to
Yeah,
be horizontal. It was weird, right? Now they've kind of made it awesome, because when you post, so you guys, if you have a video that's over 60 seconds, if you want to put it on Instagram, it's got to go on IGTV, right?
mm,
But you check the little box that says put a preview on my feed, and it's fabulous. Like IGTV, people watch it. They watch it to the end. You can have links. Those links in the IGTV comment or the post, those are hot links. Those click.
yeah.
So
Especially if you've got under 10,000 followers and you're like begging for links. I was
I
like,
can't get any clicks. I have less than 10,000 followers. I probably always
yeah,
will, because I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna worry about building my email list. But yeah, so I love it. I think it's great. I would use
mm,
IGTV as much as you can. And if
yeah,
you have
like
videos, like,
styling or
yeah, older videos of anything, of fashion shows or process videos, just pop them up. Like if they're already on YouTube and they're already on your blog, who cares? Put them up there too. It's fine.
yeah. And that's a really important point actually, is about repurposing content. Like if it's on the internet somewhere, that doesn't mean that you can't put it on again.
You guys, please listen to what she just
Please.
said. Yeah.
Make your life easier.
Yes. I mean, if you take the example of like, I'm going to do a 2-minute Q&A video once a week, or 1-minute Q&A video. Hey, this is Jane. I got this question. What do I wear if I have, a round face and I need to get some big earrings for, like whatever your question is, right? You make
Yeah,
the content. That same content can be used in so many different ways, you guys. You can, put it up on IGTV. You can put it up on Facebook. You put it up on YouTube. You take the embed code from YouTube and you put it on your blog. You then write some words around it for SEO on the blog page, right? You take a screenshot of that video, you put that in your email, and you invite them back to the blog to watch the rest of it. You can take, have it transcribed, take that article, post the article on Medium, on LinkedIn. You can do another blog post a few months later that's basically the same thing, but it's just the article this time, right?
yeah.
Slightly different hook.
Like a quote and put it on your feed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like, let's say you produce it, you make a piece of content and it, let's say you're even you want to drive people to your opt-in. You want them to download, let's say you have a lead magnet, right? And it's a weekend in Paris type thing. You could lead with hottest, coolest restaurant you don't want to miss. You could lead with what shoes you should wear when you go. You could lead with, all the different things that are in a piece of content. You just can feature one part of it, and that's what it's called. So if I'm not interested in where to eat in Paris, I might be interested in, what's the latest museum or something else that
Yeah.
is already in the content. Like maybe I don't have a round face, I don't need to know what earrings to wear for my round face, but I have a this, and that's in part of it too. So you have different hooks that you can lead with on social, snippets of it to lead back to the same piece.
Yeah, and even Pinterest as well, like just making a pretty cover for it on Canva again because it's free,
Yep.
and then just post that on, link it back to your website. Like it's just like putting people into a big circle, like a washing machine, where they're just going round and round and round until they buy
And don't
something.
think like, oh, they a lot of my people are on Instagram and Pinterest. They're not. They don't
No.
know what you did last week. They're not going to remember.
Yeah, I know. And if you think about like Zara or something, or Topshop, like they're huge and they are doing this, and you've never done that on their websites. Therefore, somebody's definitely not going to do it on yours. So, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, you're right.
And the other thing I was going to ask you about, actually, on that was just about, I think when you're repurposing content, it just builds that trust up very slowly as well, because there's the theory about having 7 touch points. Like you could just create those 7 touch points yourself if you wanted to, with one piece of content. Like obviously it's great if an influencer's wearing it, or you get a testimonial, or you get an image, like whatever it is, you get featured in a magazine. But if you need to create those 7 touch points yourself to begin with, like you can do that just by using your method.
I assume you're going to have to create your own 7 touch points. You pop up in a video on Facebook, and then somebody mentioned you, and then they saw you on Instagram, and then, you
DM
absolutely.
them. Yeah.
And I know some people are saying, I am too busy to do all this, Jane. But I want you to think about
naughty. You get slapped hand if you say that.
I want you to think about, like, what's the option? What's the alternative? You don't have enough sales, or you get a really big budget and you really focus on Facebook and Instagram ads, or you spend a lot on influencers. There's no free, like, people want free stuff all the time. You want to sell, you pay to play. You're going to do a direct-to-consumer show, you pay the fee. You're going to do a trade show, you pay. You're going to be building an audience, you're going to pay. You're going to pay. You can do a lot organically. But in the end, if you want it to go a little faster and a little easier, you're going to be running ads. I hope so. And you don't have to run ads. Don't get me wrong. You can do other things, but you're going to be using money towards advertising or something of sort of increasing your reach.
So if somebody came to you and was like, oh, I've been doing really well for a year, 2 years, and all of a sudden it's just kind of like dropped off a cliff, what kind of
sales have dropped?
Yeah.
Well,
what kind of advice would you give to somebody? Would it be like looking at whether your traffic has dropped, or whether your basket's dropped, or like what stage they're dropping at, like your engagement? I guess there's lots of different things that are factors who it could be.
I would first want to see what was working. What marketing activities did you do that had a positive ROI? Oh, yeah. Well, I used to, like, when I had my retail store, I can tell you, I used to go to the neighborhood retailers meetings, and I hated them. Like, it was just torture to sit in a room with a whole bunch of retailers like myself. I don't know why, but I hated it. And I stopped going. And then our sales went down. And I was like, what? So identify what it is that you were doing that was working. And then decide, am I not doing that anymore? Am I doing it, but it's not working anymore? What's the disconnect? Definitely look at your traffic. 100% look at your traffic. And then maybe it's also that you had a trend, like somebody who was selling fidget spinners, and fidget spinners are not popular anymore. Like, that's pretty obvious. Yeah. Right? If you glom onto something super trendy, that's going to happen. And the other thing I would do is, if this could be actually an amazing opportunity for you. I know it sounds like it would suck, but at the same time, if you notice my sales are down and you have to pivot, right? You have to do something different, then I would take that opportunity to really look at what turns you on. Like, what makes you want to get up in the morning, and what products have a higher margin. I find a lot of people work really hard. They get good traffic, they get good sales, and they don't have enough money left over. And they're like, what am I doing wrong? And it's generally not that their expenses are too high. It's that their margin is not high enough. The costs are too high, or they're not charging enough, And so I've had, people who were making, this product, and then sales kind of died down. I'm thinking of someone, she has pajamas, right? She was making this product, and then sales kind of died down. The trend kind of went away, and she's like, holy crap, I can't keep doing this. What else could I do? And she ended up making caftans, kind of pivoting towards caftans in the same materials, brighter colors, but basically the same stuff, but in a caftan. And she's selling great, and the caftan margins are so much better. So sometimes it really is a pivot like that. But sometimes it could just be, gosh, we've all seen it with platforms too, like when a lot of people up until about a year ago or so getting a lot of free traffic from Instagram, and now they don't.
Yeah.
So that's just because Instagram changed, like pay to play now,
I guess it's like about, like you said, just reconnecting with what turns you on and what makes you really excited, and then sharing that as well, because it can feel a little disheartening. And when the sales don't come through, you just want to go hide in a hole. But then that's like the time when you should least be hiding in the hole. Like, you need to be, it's so much easier said than done, but that's the time when you've got to amplify it even more. And you're not going to get any more sales by shying away from it, I guess.
Well, here, somebody said something to me that I thought was interesting recently, because I know from personal experience, if I'm not feeling great about my product, or maybe I was, but then it stopped selling, and now I'm like, well, maybe my product sucks, right? You can get really caught up in your brain. I try to help my clients, and I want to help you guys listening think about what is truly great about your product. Like, maybe you have a product line of 12 different things, and these 6 you're not so sure about, but these 2 they're awesome. Feature those. Focus on those. Focus on the things you can get behind, and build up your confidence again. And then while you work on kind of fixing or tweaking the things that aren't going as well.
Yeah, like if you need to spend a day watching Netflix and feeling sorry for yourself, that's fine, as long as it's short term and not long term. And then go back out, like recharge your batteries and go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. I was saying before that I could talk to you for hours and hours, but I'm worried about your time.
It's so and I wanted to let you know that I have sort of an example of what I'm talking about repurposing the content and the flow of creating content and putting it different places. So your people can download it and get like a visual of what I'm trying to explain here.
Yeah, that would be incredible. So I know a lot of creatives are like visual people, so I think that would be amazing. Thank you.
I feel like I cover this a lot in my courses, and I still get
tell us about your courses, like how people can work.
I will, but like I feel like I cover it, but then I still get people asking me the same questions. So I think it just takes a lot of times to hear it and look at it. It just really, we didn't go into business to be content marketers.
No, I think that's scary for designers.
Yeah,
like half the time as a brand owner, you're going to be a content queen and sharing it.
I tell people at least start with one day of the week, like Marketing Mondays. If it's not going to be that, then maybe it's 2 hours every morning. The first 2 hours a day is marketing, and then you move to something else, because it is that important. But yeah, so I'll give you this free download. See, we're modeling here. We're modeling this checklist thing. It'll be at janehammill.com/thefashionfeed. Okay. And it's JANEHAMILL.com. So I hope that helps clear this up and make it easier for you guys. So what I do
a bit of structure. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, and just like a little bit of workflow. Like first you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do that. Because I know sometimes when I look at all the steps, I mean, just putting together this podcast, whatever, it can be like, oh my God, I'm never going to get done with this. And then you don't even want to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully.
Sometimes it's like, make website go live, and it's like got 5,000 jobs within that one thing. You're like, okay, let's break it down a little bit.
Maybe just do these first 3. How about that?
Yeah, maybe take some photos of something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Check off the first 3, and then tomorrow I'll do the next 3. It's all good. It's all going to get done.
Yeah.
So what I do is I have a couple of courses online. I have one that's called How to Build a Following Before You Even Have a Product. It's a mini course. It's very inexpensive. And it just helps you get sales from day one, right? Because while you're working on your product, we're also product focused. And then we're like, crap, who am I going to sell this to? Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
It's the worst
scary feeling.
I've had it.
Yeah.
Terrible. So I have that one. And then I have another one called Sell More Products Online. And with SMPO, I call it, that's kind of the building blocks, the basics of getting your marketing plan together. What are your core marketing activities? Who's your audience? What are you going to say? How are you going to attract them? How are you going to find them and bring them back to your site and get them on your list, and then eventually get them to buy, right? It kind of goes through that whole process that we talked about today. And then I do the monthly coaching, and the monthly coaching program, it's a group program, but they have individualized time. We use Zoom video conference. Super fun. I love it. And so the members come on and they have sent their question in, and whether it's like, hey, review my Facebook ad, or my welcome email series, or my abandoned cart, or, whatever, anything to do with marketing and selling, particularly direct to consumer. We
Yeah.
do that, and they have 4, weekly chance to get live feedback and reviews from me, and I have another mentor in there as well, who shows them what's going on with her Shopify store and with her, real time, like like this is what I did last week, and these are my results. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah, because she shares when it doesn't work too. She doesn't just say, "Look how great I am." She's like, "Yeah, I did this promotion, and here's what happened."
And here it's flopping on the chart.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And where can people find you? JaneHamill.com.
Yep, JaneHamill.com, and then
On Instagram?
at Jane Hamill Chi, CHI, short. Well, I don't know if it's short, but for Chicago, where I live.
Cool. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge. Like, it will be invaluable to people.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for having me.